Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another of our many CLIP webinars. My name is Cherish, and I do a lot of the customer relations here at CLIP Software, so this webinar is definitely in my job description. And I'm very excited about it because we'll be going over something a lot of our customers have been asking for lately, and that's CLIP2Go. I'll be co-hosting today with the head of tech support, Stephen. Many of you have spoken with Stephen multiple times. He's helped you use CLIP2Go better so that you can be more successful. That's always been the support department's goal, making you more successful, just like it's always been CLIP Software's goal in general. Stephen will be doing most of the talking and actual demonstrating because he knows much more about CLIP than I do. An interesting fact about Stephen is that he only cuts his hair once a year. So it gets pretty long during the winter and is quite a shock when it's suddenly all gone. It is curly though, which makes it look not quite so long. Next week we'll be going over management by numbers, a lot about the important numbers in your business and that sort of a thing. It'll be a great webinar to attend, taught by our one and only Dave Tucker Sr., who has over 25 years of experience in the green industry. And I'll send that link over to register for that right now to everyone. Make sure you don't miss it. That's next Friday, same time. For now, let's go ahead and get started with CLIP2Go. You can type any questions in as you go along. Feel free to ask as many as you like. Try and keep it webinar related. We have a lot of people on this webinar to answer those questions for you, and we'll answer some live as well. And we'll start off with this poll or survey that I have here. Let me see if I can go ahead and get this started. And how kind of get to know our audience a little bit. And let's see here. And I think I might be doing something wrong here. 1 second, bear with me. There we go. And so go ahead and answer that. Do you not even have CLIP2Go to not be able to use CLIP2Go? You use your free license, but you haven't set it up yet. You just use one of your free licenses, or all your crews use CLIP2Go every single day. Go ahead and type that in, and we will get kind of an idea of who is listening to this webinar today.
What's the maximum, Cherish? What's the maximum number of CLIP2Gos that are being used by one company? I bet you it's the guy down in Corporate Green down in Louisiana. Do you know that?
I don't know.
35 or something like that?
I think they use about they have about 35 licenses. I think that's about right.
Yeah. So
there's some pretty heavy users out there. There's a lot of companies that use CLIP2Go. Some use them more than others, but definitely, I mean, if you're recording work for 35 different crews, that's a lot of office time.
Yeah, a lot of people that you'd have to hire to enter in all the route sheets if you didn't have CLIP2Go. All right, so I'll go ahead and close that.
If
Here it on the screen.
in case you're
Most people in this webinar haven't even set up your free license. I did send out a link, and actually we'll go over that later, of how to set it up. This will be more using it. You can kind of see what you've been missing and what you can use in the future if you set up your CLIP2Go. So CLIP2Go, in case any of you don't even know what it is a mobile website. And what it does is you can record your work and everything on the website, and then it'll automatically be downloaded into your CLIP2Go program. So it kind of creates a hybrid of online and PC-based software for you. And let's see here. So one thing that some of our customers get a little confused with is it is a website, not an app. And the reason for that, and I'll go ahead and show this one here. Let's see here. Oops. So the reason for that is because at first we kind of played with making it into an app, and then we realized that each device, Androids, Apples, has different sorts of an app, and it wasn't universal, and we had a lot of issues with that, so we decided to make it a website because it is much more universal. Any device that you can get internet on, you can use with CLIP2Go, and that's definitely a benefit that we've seen, and the reason why we have decided to do it that way.
Muted.
And so moving on here, just 1 second as I get everything organized right here. with CLIP2Go, there are lots of benefits, and we're going to go over just a few of them here. And the first that we'll hit is seeing your customers' information from anywhere.
So we've listed some of the benefits here, and this one basically, by seeing your customers' information anywhere, this can be extremely useful for whether you're managing a lawn maintenance company and you want to just keep track of your customers' information. You're able to access your entire customer database anywhere that you have internet if you've already uploaded the CLIP2Go.
Right. So even if you're in a restaurant or something along those lines, you need to look up some information. Let's say your crew broke a windshield of a customer, you needed to give them a call right away. Get out your cell phone, look up the customer's information, give them a call right then and right there. This
will save you time from, instead of having to call back to the office and talking to the office worker, asking them to look up the customer's number whose windshield that they broke, and giving you the number. You can look up the number yourself, and it just saves a lot of time in the process of different people that you need to go through in order to get the information that you need to make just a simple phone call.
Right. And then another benefit is you can know what jobs your crews are on at the time. As working as an office worker, often customers would call me. They'd want to know when they were going to be done that day for whatever reason. And so I could go into CLIP2Go from my computer, and I could see where the crews were, see what jobs they were on at least. And then I could tell the customer, yep, you're next in line, or sorry, won't be until tomorrow because they were the 50th on the list, or anything along those lines. And then another benefit of CLIP2Go.
One of the other benefits that we've listed here is more accurate job costing and employee efficiency reports. Basically, with this, you have all the information getting saved on the web that you can then receive later in the office. So if your crews are, at the end of the day, your crews are driving back to the office to drop off, if they were using route sheets, they had a window open and all of a sudden all the route sheets blow out, then there goes all of the work that you just recorded that day. Now, a phone is less likely to go flying out the window, so it's a little easier to keep track of all your customers' history. You're less likely to lose it.
Yeah, and even if the phone does go out the window, all the information is online, so you can access it from anything else and still be fine. And then another thing also, you have, if one of your employees, it's hard to read their handwriting, let's say, and they don't type in or put in the exact time on the route sheets. If they're pressing start and stop, it's much more accurate. You get down to the second of when they were at the property, and that's also another reason why it's more accurate job costing reports and employee efficiency. And also, no more route sheets. You don't have to deal with all that paper and be overwhelmed by it. You can turn into more of a paperless company, just like the theme is nowadays, just in 2014.
And it also almost completely eliminates office time towards the end of the day. If you're coming back in after a hard day's work of cutting grass and you come back to the office and you sit down with this big stack of paper route sheets that you're having to manually go through each of the jobs that you did and enter the times, that's a whole bunch of extra time that you could be completely saved by having your crews record the times themselves as they're going through the jobs during the day. And at the end of the day, you just click download and receive the work that has been already recorded.
Yeah, and I would say this is one of the major benefits of CLIP2Go, and definitely a way that it pays for itself by far. Well, definitely with your free license that you have, but even with additional licenses, you can, depending on how many you have, you can completely eliminate an office person probably. And just the amount of time that you can save at the end of the day and throughout the day just by having CLIP2Go to do it automatically. All right, so that's everything about, well, some of the benefits, and you'll see more as we go along. And in the beginning here, we're just going to go over setting up briefly, and I mentioned that in an email that I sent to everyone yesterday. If you registered after that, you didn't get the email, but I sent out a tutorial of how to set up CLIP2Go initially. So if you haven't set up CLIP2Go, we're not going to go over that in detail. In fact, we are just going to go over just 5 minutes here real quick. But I'll send out the link to that tutorial right now, and you can save that for later, set it up later, and still kind of see how it works. And but if you did already set it up, great. You can play with it on your phone as we go through here on the screen, or anything along those lines. All right, so let's go over this briefly.
All right, so here's how we're going to set up CLIP2Go. As Cherish said, most of you guys probably already have it, but those of you that don't, this can be just a tutorial of how CLIP2Go works, and afterwards you can then go through and see the manuals and stuff and information that we've sent you on how to set up. And if you have questions on that, give us a call here at tech support, and we'll do our best to help you out and get Clip2Go up and running for you. So here's just a quick overview of what you need to do in order to get it set up. The first thing that's most important is you're going to need to make sure that you actually have crews, or that you have employees set up, because employees build crews, and then crews are what the jobs get assigned to. So I'm going to check here. So I have 4 employees here. That's good. If you need to know how to add an employee, it's pretty much the same as adding a customer. Only after you've added that customer, you just come up here into the top right, and you check off that it is an employee and not just a customer. So once you have employees added, then you go into setting up your crews. And your crews are set up under System. Let me go back there. System Crew Setup. And once you click on this, then you can build your crews here by simply clicking Add a New Crew, then type in the information, type in the crew name. You can add the employees. You can add or remove employees simply by clicking here and just finding the ones that you want to add. So here's what we're going to do. Now that you have employees and crews added, the other thing you need to make sure is that you have users set up. Now users are what you use to log into CLIP.exe on your personal computer. Now you need to set up other users. Now if you're the same person using Clip2Go in the field, you can use your same login that you use to log into Clip on your computer. But if you're setting it up for crews, multiple crews, then you're going to want to give them their own login. And to do that, you go to System, Passwords, and Set Passwords. And here's the different users that I have. So right now I have about 5 users. If I wanted to add a new one for a crew, I would simply just add new user, enter the new information here. Just going to keep the name and password here just for time's sake here. So there's my new users. My new user is added. And I can edit the information. I can edit the permissions that this user is allowed, the different things he's allowed to access in Clip and in Clip2Go. So I'm going to return out of here. And there's one other thing that we need to set up is going to be your company password. Now your company password is set up here under System, Email Settings. Under Email Settings, currently we have our company password is Clip, and so I can change that if I want to, or I'm just going to remember that because that's what we're going to use today for the demonstration. The other thing, now in this screen, I was just about to pass over, but Cherish pointed it out to me and reminded me that to go over this, is the timeout for Clip2Go. I believe when you first set up, I think it might be like 30 minutes is the default time. You can change it, as you see, we have it changed here to 720 minutes. And basically what this means is after 720 minutes, if there's no activity on Clip2Go, Clip2Go will automatically log that user out. So this is extremely useful if you have a couple people that are trying to go through the system. But if we recommend making it as long, however many minutes you can before you need to. I mean, sometimes you need someone else to be able to log in, like if a manager at the end of the day might want to log in. But if you have this set at 7, the problem with having it set at 30 minutes is that if a crew's out in the field, they hit start a job, or they log in, they start a job, then they go out and they're cutting grass for, let's say that it takes them 40 minutes. They come back into the truck, and the first thing they're trying to do is trying to end the job. But they won't be able to end the job because they've been logged out, so they're going to need to sign back in. So it's going to cause a little bit of frustration for the crews if they're having to sign in every time that they pick up the phone or whatever just to record jobs. So if you bump up the time to 720 minutes, which is what we have, or whatever time works best for your company, that way your crews don't need to be signing in every time they go to change something on Clip2Go.
Great, and then next, after that's all the setup that we went over, if you have questions, you can type in the question box, and we might be able to hit a little bit of those at the end. Next, we'll just go through how to send the work to Clip2Go, kind of step 1 in the whole Clip2Go process.
Right, so the one thing that you need to remember is that Clip2Go will send up whatever work is in the workbank. The easiest way to check what jobs are in the workbank currently is go to Record Work, and I normally just hit Mark Work is done, and this shows me all the jobs I have sitting in the workbank. This shows me what crew they're on, what customers are getting jobs done. So this just lets me know that I have jobs to be done. And it's the same way if you're printing out route sheets, it's going to print out route sheets for whatever jobs are sitting in the workbench. So we're gonna go back here. Now I know that there are jobs in the workbench. The next step is sending the information up to CLIP2Go. So I'm going to hit send and upload to CLIP2Go. This is uploading all the route sheets, uploading all the information to CLIP2Go. I'm going to select this at this step here. It's important that you have CLIP2Go Web / Clip Connect checked. CLIP2Go was an older style that we used. It was, I think there's a couple of customers that may still use it, but for now, this is the primary way of getting your information up to the web and enabling your crews to access it out in the field. If this one is checked, then go ahead and select Process. And this just takes you through and gets the information ready. This step here is getting the information ready to upload. We have several options here. The first one is route sheets only. After you've done a full upload of your company once, you can then do route sheets only if that's all that you're using it for. If you're only using it for route sheets, then it'd be a lot faster for you to just have route sheets only checked. But if you're using it for more, I don't know, more for like a manager or a company owner wanting to check in on customers, see what jobs have been done, check job histories, see what customers are active and stuff, then you're going to want to go ahead and have more of these options checked on here. I'm going to go ahead and just go through all of them: active customers, on-hold customers, vendors, and employees. And I'm going to include no activity as well. This means that anyone who has had no activity after this date will get uploaded as well. And the other important thing here is the show history back to. Now you can show history back to the year 1999. That goes back quite a ways, and that would be an awful lot of information depending on how large your customer database was. And so it's really up to you. I know some of you probably don't care about what jobs were done back in 1999. So the most recent or the more current that you can keep this number here, the faster your uploads are going to go. So I have this set. I'm going to go ahead and hit Process and Send. And this is just going through. This brings up here. And now this is where the information is all packaged together, ready to upload to CLIP2Go. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Process here. And it just goes through a couple steps. Now, depending on how much information you have to send up to the web, this can take a couple minutes. It's not going to take us too long because we're using a test copy here and we don't have too much information that we're sending up. But one thing that's important to know is, I know Cherish wanted to talk about this, was the licenses. How many licenses that you get. Did you have more information on that, Cherish?
Just kind of the way it works. Sometimes it's a little confusing to our customers. And with the licenses, you can only have one person logged in at a time. You can have as many usernames as you want, but if you have one license, you can only have one person logged in at a time. So if you haven't set up your first CLIP2Go license, definitely set that up just so you can have some of the other benefits that we mentioned earlier on. And then also you can just have one crew who does it, and that takes a little bit of time off of the office at the end of the day as well, and saves you a little bit of money. And then you can get a feel for it, see if it's something that you think you'd want to implement into your whole crews or not. But with the way that works, you could even have one person can log in and then ask someone to log out, and then they can log in with their username or password, and you can set different permissions, and that's in the video tutorial about setting up CLIP2Go Web. But you just have more flexibility with that, so at least set up your free one and use that to the best you can.
And like you said, the main reason we're telling you this is because you do have a free license of CLIP2Go if you're CPP, which is if you have ClipXC, then you have one free license of CLIP2Go. And it's important, if you have it, you might as well use it, or at least test it out and see how it will work for your company. And if you have questions on setting it up, definitely give us a call at tech support, and we can help you out with that.
All right, so now we can go ahead to CLIP2Go because we have uploaded all the work to CLIP2Go, and we'll just sign in with our CLIP serial number and password. And we might want to, your CLIP serial number, if you don't know what that is yet, it's at the top of your screen right there. Ours is 111111, however you want to say it. And so you can see your CLIP number right there. So type in your CLIP number and then your company password that we said before. Ours was CLIP, so we'll just type that in right there and then press sign in. And first we're going to kind of look at this from an employee's, and then our username. So whatever username you want to choose, we'll choose CLIP and then type in our password for that username.
Unmuted.
First we're going to look at this from an employee's perspective, or a day-to-day perspective. From recording the work, posting this, first recording the work, how to do all those little things, and then later we'll look at it more from an office perspective. So the first thing that we'd want to do is clock in if we're an employee.
All right, so if you're an employee, you're starting work for the day. The first thing you'll do, like Trish said, is you'll come to the time clock. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit web version. The difference is here, web version just means it shows everything, and if you're using a smaller screen, it will be compressed down and it'll be a little smaller for you and maybe harder to read. Mobile version is more optimized for smaller screens. It just has everything a little larger to make it easier to see. So, but since we're on a computer here, and just for demonstration, I'm going to use web version today. I'm going to hit save. So here's my employees. So I have 4 employees set up here, and the punch clock it just works real simple. As long as you're recording jobs and stuff and times throughout the day, the punch clock will work for you. So I'm going to hit punch clock, and John Adams has been punched in at 11:17. And we're going to go with Sam Adams as well. I'm going to punch the clock as well. So there's 2 employees, both starting at 11:17. And just hitting punch clock puts them in or out depending on where they're at the moment. So that's the time clock. It works pretty simple, and it's easy to use.
And then where does that information go at the end of the day?
That information then transfers back into CLIP and goes to the employee hours.
And we can kind of show you that once we get, or we'll see how it goes at the end if we have time or not. All right, so then after we've punched in, we'll go ahead and start getting to work.
Right, so after you punch in, you want to go to route sheets because you got to see what you're going to do for that day. Once you click on the route sheet button, you're then brought to this screen, and this screen allows you to choose what crew you are. So you logged in using your username, but then you still have to select what crew you're using. So we're going to go with crew 1. And here's the employees that we have on it. We have Sam Adams and Tom Lynch. Well, we didn't clock Tom Lynch in today, so what we're going to do, we're going to say this employee didn't make it today. He's sick. He's off sick for the day. So we're going to remove this employee. So now crew 1 is down to 1 employee. If we wanted to add another employee to replace him, I would find one from the list that did come in and be like, okay, well, John Adams, now you're going to work on this crew as well. So that's a way. It's a way of last minute kind of changing around which employees work on which crew if one doesn't come in or something like that.
Hey, Stephen, you could also use that if somebody added, if one crew helped another crew to finish a job or something like that, or they're going to meet at the last job for the day. So basically what you could do is if there's 4 people involved, 2 from each crew, you just take the 2 people off from that other crew and add them to this one, and that way CLIP will have all the information and distribute it correctly. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. It's just a way of saving. The more that you can do here, the more your crews can do, the more time that will save you in the office when you're recording, to save you from having to look through all the paperwork and figure out which employee was with which crew for which particular jobs. This puts it for the crews to enable them to switch employees from one crew to the next to help them with, if, like Dave said, if there's need for help with for a last job of the day and another crew joins them.
2 crews come together, something like that. The other advantage of having the crews do it right at the time that it's happening is you can mentally relax. It's like, okay, that's done. I took care of that. I know what's happening, and all that information goes back in automatically, which is so much better than trying to look at a route sheet. Particularly, I'm sure all of you have had this experience, but you're looking at a route sheet from 3 or 4 days ago, and you're trying to remember, now, what happened here? And, of course, by taking care of it right away, you can relax, move on to the next thing, concentrate. Your crews can work better because they can concentrate on what's happening. And you actually can get this information back in the office immediately as soon as they've recorded it. So it just saves a lot of hassle and a lot of headaches.
Yeah, less for you to remember and more that is just automatic.
So once we have the crew set up, we're going to see the work for this particular crew. So crew 1 here, I'm going to hit see work. This shows me all the jobs that are to be done this day for crew 1. And, sorry.
Quick question, if you guys don't mind. Somebody is asking, Jeff is asking, do you have to enter every employee to assign per crew in CLIP, or could we just say it's these number of people? So I think the answer to that question is you do need to enter each employee into CLIP, and it'll actually help you out a lot once we get to the reporting, because then you can pull employee efficiencies and figure out who's doing really well, and what people you need to either get rid of or encourage them to do a better job. So.
Good question. Thank you, Dave. So here's a list of all the jobs that need to be done for the day. Here's the particular customers. And these customers are in route sequence order that is set up or already set up inside of CLIP. So the first customer here is John Adams. So let's pretend that this is the first time this crew was ever supposed to do this particular customer, and they don't know where he lives. They've never been to this address before. One of the neat things about CLIP2Go is down here at the address, if they don't have a GPS, well, if they have a GPS, they can just enter the address in here. But if they don't have a GPS, there's this little Google Maps button. And what this does, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. This will show you the location of the house using Google Maps. So this will help your crews, help them get to the properties, and even depending on the house and what Google Maps has, it may show a picture. But this will just help your crews get to the right house if they're unsure of where to go, if it's a new customer. Once they get to the house and they're getting ready to start the first job, they're going to hit select, and it shows you the man hours here. And if you have particular notes, these notes are set up inside of CLIP.exe. These notes could pertain to lots of things. You could put notes. The key for the gate to get to the backyard is under the bird feeder in the mulch in the front yard, or something like that. You can put any kind of job-specific notes here, so that way the crews know when they arrive at the job any specific information that the customers need them to know. That way the customer doesn't need to be there. The crews will then have the information that they need to do the job without having to call the office and say, I can't get into the back garden because the gate's locked. Different things like that. You have the information already for them, and they should be set. The other thing here, all right, the other thing is the man hours. The man hours here, this shows you, we're on a crew of 2, so the man hours for this particular job is 15 minutes. It automatically calculates depending on how many men. So the man hours for this job is actually 30 minutes, but since we have two men on this particular job, it cuts it down and automatically does math showing your crews that they have 15 minutes to be here at this job. They'd hit start when it's time, and they can just let this go through, and then they jump out and they start the mow trim all special. Now, one thing that's kind of neat here, they can add invoice notes. Invoice notes will then show up on the invoice to the customers whenever you send those over. Along with invoice notes, there's also materials. Now, okay, let's see, we have 2 materials already assigned to this particular job. We have hardwood mulch and we have a Glen as some of the materials that we're using.
Not sure where that one came from, but you can definitely see this is a test copy of CLIP. Normally you don't give customers people.
But anyways, for the hardwood mulch, what we're going to do, we're going to adjust the quantity. So for this, I'm going to move the quantity up to 2. I'm just going to type in 2 and see, if you notice there, it changes the quantity amount. I'm going to hit save, and that saves it. So that way we can keep track of how many different materials and how much of that material we use for each particular customer. This can be useful then later inside of CLIP for pulling different reports, and it saves you in the office from having to figure out what you used.
Can you show us real quick how to add a material?
Sure. If we go back to the material screen, and here's the 2 materials that I'm already using. If I wanted to add a new material, I would select this button down here, add, and I could pick whichever material I want to use. I'm going to add some Roundup here. I'm going to select it, and now that the Roundup's been selected, I can put in the quantity, and this is going by gallon, so I'm going to just put 1 gallon or 0.5 well, 10 works. There we go. There's one. So I'm going to hit save, and that's my gallon of Roundup added as my material that I used on this particular job as well. The other cool trick about this here is the conditions. Now, if you're familiar with, if you do programs and rounds, I know in the last webinar Cherish and I did together, we talked about conditions. Now, this is lawn conditions, weather conditions. Some of these, like the weather conditions, are required by state for certain jobs. If you're putting down some chemical applications, then you need to keep track of, what was the weather conditions of that day. So for this, we're just going to go ahead and just put in some basic information, just the wind speed. All this here, this is pretty set here. We can just go through some of these. And we have the wind speed, wind direction, temperature, and weather. That's just weather conditions. Now the other one is the lawn conditions. You can select lawn conditions, and these are preset in CLIP. And what these are used for is kind of for marketing. You can, once you've downloaded and received this work in CLIP, you can then say, oh, okay, well this customer has brown patches in their yard. This can then be later used. You can then send a notification to your customer saying, while our crews were out at your property cutting your grass, we noticed there are some brown patches. An excellent way to fix this would be to let us install a new irrigation system or something like that. That way it gives you a tool that will help you upsell to your customers.
Yeah, and it's actually completely automatic. In CLIP, it'll automatically send out the emails. If there's a lawn condition entered into someone, you can preset the emails, pre-type them out according to what the lawn condition is, and then automatically send it out from ClipXE to all their email addresses. Just make sure they're set up to receive service notifications first.
I think we have that I think we have a webinar where we talked about that, and that's called Job Activity Emails. And it's part of a webinar of new functions or something, I believe.
Okay.
Another thing I wanted to mention on this is just a story. I'm always about stories, but a story was that we got a notification just about a month ago from our state here saying that they were going to come and audit our records for our chemical apps. And so the guy came in and he looked at it and he saw that we had recorded most of this stuff, not all of it, but we had recorded most of the stuff into CLIP as we were going, and he was very impressed. He said he had never seen anybody that had recorded that much before, and we passed with flying colors. So that's just sort of like, okay, that was good. We like that.
There are a couple questions, if you guys don't mind me kind of cutting in for a minute.
Go ahead.
Sure. One of the questions is the number of materials limited? So I think I guess I'll let you guys go ahead and answer that, and then there's another one. You may be getting there, but somebody's asking where are limited route sheet notes and route sheet notes in CLIP2Go, and I know we've added a new little report for that under the route sheets.
Well, the materials, it's just as many materials as you add to CLIP originally, and then they'll be uploaded to CLIP2Go, and you can choose as many as you want to a specific job according to what you need. And then the route sheets and limited route sheet notes, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but Steve, you can go ahead and show us.
All right, well, we'll go back here. So the route sheet notes is what it would appear under here. But the limited route sheet notes, Dave, did you know where those?
Sure. Yeah, actually those go.
Do you know where those go?
Yeah, those both go to the same place, I believe. They both show up under notes. But then also you can pull that all notes report too when you first start the day to see what notes are coming up for the crew. So if your guys are really bad at paying attention to notes and you want them to go through before they leave, maybe one of the notes may say something about like bush trimming or something, so that they can kind of pack the truck correctly. Then they can take a look at that and see what information is there. So.
Okay, thank you.
So where did you say that? So
that
route sheets?
The notes reports. If you go to route sheets, and when you're selecting your crew, you can hit the all notes reports, and that lets you know. It just shows you a list of all the notes that have been entered for these particular customers that Crew 1 is assigned to for this day.
All right, so now we can go back to
But
our...
those notes also show up on a per job. So when the employees are on that job, they'll see the note for that. The all notes is sort of like at the beginning of the day, and then what Dave had said was that the limited route sheet notes show up the same along with those notes.
Right, exactly. So you can see them in two different places. All right, so now we're back to our job that we are doing, and another thing we can do is add a general note, and that'll just go back to, in CLIP, when you download the work, you can go back to that.
All right, so we're going to just type something in here just so we can see that how it comes up. If you notice, whenever you start a general note, it just puts it like a little stamp here with the customer number and the name. So yeah, we're just going to put something in here. So this should be good. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save here at this time, and that's good. Now the other kind of neat thing about CLIP2Go is you can add signatures.
Yeah, for instance, let's say that a customer decided while you're on the property that he wanted you to trim his bushes as well. And so you can just go ahead and type his name in here, and then we'll just go ahead with that. Oops.
Whoops. Hang on. Let's go back. There we go. Let's add signature. We hit. Let's delete that one. Here we go. So now, so then what they can do, if you have like a little stylus or something that the crews take along with them, or even just, they can use their fingers, and it's just a real quick, that looks terrible. But anyways, you can change the colors and everything if you want. If you want to get real fancy with it, go ahead and you can do that there and have some fun. But I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And, oh, those look really bad. That's why I'm not an artist. So I'm going to hit go back. And this is this job. Now, if you're adding a signature, you probably want to add like an invoice note or a general note just saying what you got the customer signature for, as Cherish said. If they want you to do another job for them, have them sign for something, and then also make a note, say we did this other job. So while we were at this place, if we wanted to do another job for this customer, we would then go to the customer list, and we would find this customer, which was Adams. So I'm going to hit find. It was John Adams.
And this part of it really looks just like CLIP.exe. I mean, the colors are a little different, but it's set up just exactly the same. So we won't go over this into too detail, but we can find the bush trimming job, and then go to the job detail, and then we'll just.
So we're going to go to job schedule, and we're going to take the job off hold, and we're going to assign it to crew number 1, and we're going to make the next visit date today. I'm going to hit save.
Make sure you do hit save, because if you don't, it won't show up correctly.
And just to make sure it gets into the workbank as well, I'm going to hit add to workbank. Now it lets me know up here that the job's been successfully added. So when I go back to route sheets, crew 1, John Adams here.
Looks like he's doing his own property.
Let's see. Incomplete. Okay. I'm going to end this particular job for this customer, and it shows that this one's been complete. I'm going to go back, and here I noticed that the second John Adams here for this particular one has been put down here. We could select this, and if we were still doing the other job, we could do a group job, and we could put those together. To do a group job, basically what I would do is I would hit start, and then I would click add another, and basically what this allows me to do, this allows me to go find another job. Now I already ended the other John Adams job, but we're going to go to the next customer because they're right next to each other, and while one of the crew members works on John Adams, the next crew member is going to work on Ben Franklin. So I'm going to add this particular job here, this mow trim all, to group. And now these two jobs have been grouped together. Now the reason for this, like I said, if one customer has multiple jobs and you have two crew members and they both want to start working on them at the same time to get them done sooner, or if there's there could be like a group of 5 or 6 houses on a street that your crews show up on the street, they unload everything, they start the job, and they do all 5 houses consecutively before coming back and ending the jobs. It just saves them from running back and forth, hitting start and end between each job. And what this will do, this will split the time between the jobs. So now that these ones have been done, I'm going to go ahead and click End Group. And this shows me here that these jobs have been finished. And that's kind of what your crews have to go through each day whenever they're using Clip2Go. That's a couple different scenarios that we brought up.
Yeah, and as you see, this is pretty straightforward. You can change the crew just by clicking that right there if you want to change a job to a different crew.
Changing crew will actually, so if we wanted this job, say it's towards the end of the day, and we realize that we're not going to get to Martha, Washington. If we weren't going to get to Martha, Washington, but there was another crew nearby that would be able to fit her in for that particular day, we could hit Change Crew, and we can select which crew we want to send that to. So we're going to send that to Crew 3. I'm going to hit Save. And this enables me to go back in. I can check Crew 3 to make sure it's been added to Crew 3, or I can just go back as Crew 1 and just continue doing the work. And I notice that Martha, Washington isn't there because she's already been sent to Crew 3.
Yeah, great. And I think that's everything we were going to go over about working kind of as an employee, sort of as perspective. And now, as an office, as someone who works in the office, it's also useful to have Clip2Go, like I was saying before, if a customer calls and wants to know where they are on the list. So what you do then, I'll just go from the home page. It's kind of just the same thing. Go to Route Sheet, pick the crew that the customer is on, and you can look in their account in CLIP2Go to see what crew they're on, and then just click See Work. And then here we can show all the work that was done, and we can say, oh, you were actually just done, and maybe they were somewhere else at the time or something on those lines. Or I know our guys sometimes go fast, and we have such small lawns like townhouses and things that the customers don't even notice that they were there, and unless they looked out the window and actually saw that the grass was shorter, which sometimes in the summer it doesn't make much of a difference because the grass doesn't grow very much. But you can tell them, yes, we were just there, or working on your property now, it would have an I, or you're next on the list, or whatever the case may be. And let's see, and another thing we can do as an owner, you might want to add a customer, a new customer. Let's say you're going to Home Depot and someone sees the $20 special sign on your truck and they say, hey, come and cut my lawn next week. And so you can just go to the customer list, and this is how you'd add a new one.
Yeah, so you go to the customer list and you'd be like, okay, you want us to come to your house next week, let's say next Tuesday, and do our $20 special. So what I would do, I would come to the customer list, I'd sign in at that point, I'd go to customer, and I would select Add New. And I can pick between my different pattern customers here that I have already set up. And these are the same pattern customers that are going to be inside of your CLIP program. So I'm going to do the Frederick one. I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit Add. And here it is. And it's basically, it is pretty much the same way as adding a customer inside of CLIP. So we've added our customer. I'm going to hit Save.
Now, obviously, you'd want to get more information on your customer than that, but just for the sake of time.
We're also going to go to Jobs. Because he said he wanted the $20 special, I go over to his Jobs tab, and as in CLIP2Go on your computer, whenever you add a customer, he doesn't have jobs. So we're going to go click Add New, and we're going to find the Mow Trim All Special. So job number 2, I'm going to click Add. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on the schedule. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put him in for doing him on Wednesday. And make sure the crew's correct, and that's fine. So I just need to save that. And this job has been already added. This job's been added, and on Tuesday, the crews will see this job to do.
Right. And I think that's everything that we have to go over right now on the website. But before we go back to CLIP2Go, Dave, are there any more questions from people that they want us to address or anything along those lines?
Well, we've got a couple questions, mostly about recording work and stuff. I think that's where you guys are going next. So I'll bring up anything if you guys don't cover it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, then we'll move on.
All right.
So now this is just how to download from Clip2Go. What you do at the end of the day, instead of typing in all the information, this is all that you have to do. So
to start, the first thing you're going to do once you get back to the office is you're going to hit the Receive button. Now, depending on what theme you have in CLIP2Go, I know we've changed it about. Well, there's 2 different main themes that we have using. There's a Clip2Go box up here, or it's down here in this area right here. For me, I'm just going to go to the Clip2Go box and hit the Receive button. And again, this is the same as with the upload option. I need to make sure that it is Clip2Go web/clip connect that is checked off and not just the Clip2Go. Once I've done this, I'll hit process, and this pulls in all my work here for me. And let's see, this lets me know that there have been notes from Clip2Go web. Do you want to see them now? At this point, I can be, I want to see what the notes are. So Clip, here's my one note that I entered. Accidentally did not clock out right. Subtract 10 minutes. And this lets you know at what property that you need to adjust the time for. So this was property customer number 1000, customer name John Adams. So I can preview this or I can print this out right here. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that for now. And that's fine. I'm going to return it over here. This lets me know that files have been synced, and it's telling me to go to record work and review over them. So here's the record work screen. Now, before I see, because I notice right away that I don't have any jobs that are marked as done. That's because I haven't hit the download option. It's easy to overlook this one, but this is the one last step here that you need to get the information from Clip2Go onto your record work screen. So I'm going to hit process, and it's finished importing them all. So what I can do, I notice I have 3 jobs marked as done, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look. So here's the jobs. I notice here's the first John Adams job that I did, and it is marked as done. Status is done. And here's the Ben Franklin and John Adams customer. Now I notice the status is grouped because those were the 2 jobs that we grouped together. So one way that what we could do here, after reviewing this and making sure that every customer that we did was done, I know that my John Adams, I received a note that's saying John Adams needs some minutes subtracted from his time. So what I would do, I would select on this job and hit R on the keyboard, and this brings up the record work screen, or for entering more information. And now I can notice that the start time was 11:24 and the stop time was 11:34. Now I can't really subtract 10 minutes from that because
you did it instantaneously.
My crews work pretty fast this time of year. So I'm going to change that. I'm just going to change that to 44. We're going to add 2 minutes instead of subtracting 10 minutes. So this changes it from 11:24 to 11:44.
And then to add a crew, or if we need to change something from here.
Right. And again, like we said, you can add and remove crew members from specific crews on Clip2Go. But if they forgot, you can do it just as easily from here as well. It's just more time that you have to do at the end of the day and keep track of what crew members worked on which jobs with which crews. So if I wanted to add one, I'm going to remove John or Sam Adams from this particular crew. And we're going to add another crew member. We're going to say Robert E. Lee jumped in on this one and helped out.
And I guess all this is just the same as the editing that you do at the end of the day when you record work. But if you need to change anything, it's not final on Clip2Go. You can make those edits here just like you would when you're entering rap sheets. But typically everything should be fine in Clip2Go unless they send you a general note saying that something is wrong. And then you can just address those things. So typically you won't really need to do anything in this screen. Then the lawn conditions, just to see
the lawn conditions, if we saved them, they would have showed up here. I don't think we saved those in Clip. So, or otherwise they would have showed up here. They would have already come pre-filled in.
Mm-hmm.
And we can check material. Yep, we see that we used one gallon of Roundup. That's the only one that we entered a quantity amount into. So that's why this showed up here. And again, if we needed to change something, if we needed to change the quantity amount, if the crews realized later I didn't add enough or I didn't really do this, we could delete this particular material, or we could add new materials to this job. So I'm going to hit return, and we're going to hit save. And basically the only thing that we changed was we added 10 minutes to this job. That's fine. So here's the jobs that are done. Now, a good way just to double check is you can hit, or to check at the end of the day just to make sure everything's coming over right. You can hit print tentative, and this just shows you the clock times for each of these jobs, and just a good way to double check, make sure information was actually, make sure your crews actually hit start and stop as they were doing jobs, just to make sure everything copies over correctly. Just another way to double check and make sure you have the correct information here. Once you're done with that, then you can go ahead and post work. And this goes through, this is the normal post work. And basically, a lot of the things that you can do in CLIP2Go, they're all things that you can do here in the office later. But the purpose of CLIP2Go is to save you from having to do them in the office later. Let your crews do it as they're going through. Your crews would be writing down the information anyways. Let them just put it into the system. Let them hit start. Let them hit end as they're doing the jobs. And this will save you a lot of time.
All right, so do you want to go and just look at a customer real quick?
Yeah, well, let's go ahead. And
maybe the new customer that we added.
Let's check that new customer that we added just before we wrap up here. Oh, it's still set on customer. So here's George Banks. So this is the customer that we added online through CLIP2Go. So I'm going to double click on him. Oh, he doesn't have an address. We didn't add one on CLIP2Go, and that's fine. I'm going to go to jobs, and I notice he has the job, the mode trim all special, scheduled for next Tuesday. So this can help you, company owners or managers, as you get new customers in the field, people come up to you. This is definitely a way that can save you time and make sure you add everybody into the system as they come up, instead of taking notes and then or calling someone. And it's just a way that you can handle things directly quicker.
Right, yeah, and that's everything that we have. One thing that I did want to at least mention is U.S. fleet tracking. Some of you like knowing exactly where your crews are throughout the day. Like we said earlier, you can know just by kind of knowing what job they're on right now or what job they just finished. But if you want more than that, we do integrate with U.S. fleet tracking, and you can call your account manager for more information on that. Dave, did you have anything else to say about the U.S. fleet tracking? I know you know more about it than I do for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat tool.
It's definitely a new feature.
Yeah, definitely. It's a pretty neat tool, though. If you guys are looking into adding GPS to your trucks and stuff this season, I would definitely recommend them. And what we do is we put all of the stops on a map using their tools and stuff. You can check them out, and they do have some demos of their product themselves at usfleet.com. And I don't think we don't charge anything extra if you want to use that integration, the integration with that. So.
All right, great. And did we have any other questions, Dave?
I don't know if you showed, I might have looked away for a second, but did you show where that signature came in?
No, I don't think we did.
Okay, I think that's in the history of the client.
Right.
It just might be interesting.
We did that on.
That was John Adams, I believe, which is an employee.
Yeah, at the time I was thinking you should have used John Hancock.
That's right. So what would happen if I used it for an actual customer and not just an employee? It would have copied over here and into the history tab. I could bring it up now. Brent Franklin, we didn't do it for him, but he would. If we did it, we could pull it up here from the history.
So you know where to find it. You'll have to test it out yourself and see what it looks like exactly.
Well, once you see the detail, I think if you go ahead and hit on the see detail, then yeah, it would actually be a bigger screen. It would show up on the left-hand side there in that empty space. That's where it shows up right there. So if you do have the signature, then that's where it would show, and you would have it. You can also print. You notice there's a print button right there. You can also print from here. So hopefully you would never have to do this, because hopefully you're dealing with good, straightforward customers and such. But if you did have to prove it, it's there, and you'd be able to get that and prove it out. Also, right before, since we just have a couple of minutes, why don't you show us where those job activity emails would have been printed from based on those lawn conditions. Why don't you show us quickly the setup for the lawn condition, and then where they would be going out. So I think the first one is system. First, you want to set up your lawn conditions so that they know what that means.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Systems, setup, lawn conditions.
It's chemical materials. Yeah, I think you're right. Chemical materials, and then you have lawn conditions. There you are. Okay, so when you set that up, you notice how you can have as many different codes as you want, and then you notice there's a box for action, and that's what's interesting. Action says, you know, NWAT means needs water. Your action is water immediately, or as Stephen pointed out, it could say your action is call us and let us install a sprinkler system. So, but the point of the matter is you have different codes, and those codes then are conditions on the lawn that lead to upsells. And that's what's really key about this. So now let's go to the job activity emails and show them where these things actually get generated from the contacts. And here's where you can do it. You have templates that you can pull down that you have used in the past possibly, and we don't have any in here, but we would have templates that would fill in the top and the middle and the bottom. And you see the top of the email where it says top, the subject is going to go in the email subject line. Then your top of the email could be, you know, your friendly lawn service company, and then you check off the things that you want in that middle portion that you want to show up. So you want the service name, the job name, that would be that, the time in and time out if you want to show that. And then over on the right-hand side you have lawn condition. That's the key right there. And your lawn condition will automatically also show the solution. So you can have a lawn condition, then you can have the solution. And at the bottom you say sincerely, blah, 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 blah. You could attach, if you wanted to, something for you. And then once you hit this, you notice you have pre-service and post-service. If you hit the pre-service, it's saying we're going to do this job and we want to do this. And if the after-service, we said we did this job. And you just knock these out probably once a week, and your customers will receive them, and they will call you back and start hiring you. Just over that. It's a great way. I mean, it's a great way to upsell and to keep your customers happy at the same time.
Yeah, I think one other thing is that there are a couple questions that are more about what about storing documents online, questions more like that. And I think that's actually covered kind of a different way. Right now we have an application online that's called CLIP2Go that's hosted on our servers. We don't recommend CLIP.exe users move over to that right now. So we're still adding a lot of features, kind of getting it a little bit more caught up with the features inside of CLIP.exe. But that application is more where you would store documents and have all of your information online. So with CLIP.exe, your CLIP.exe program is still installed locally on your computer, and then the CLIP application is on the, I guess, in the cloud, so to speak. So.
Yeah, and actually another thing, Know-It-All is where you can have a lot of your documents and where you store a lot of your documents. That's a whole nother webinar. But with Know-It-All, you can organize your entire company, and we're just releasing or sort of released or beta released kind of a Know-It-All online version. And so we're getting that up and running for you, and that would be a way that you can have all of your business information in the cloud, even if you're using CLIP.exe. All right, so were there any other questions then, Dave? Or I'll just assume then that we are...
There are a couple other questions, some about other reports. I do want to point out that we do record these webinars, so if you are looking for example, like a chemical applications report, I think we have a webinar that goes over how to pull those reports, and we do have a manual too that talks about each report. So send us requests and support at clip.com, and we can get you that manual if you want to. That'll give you the step-by-step for pulling like a chemical application report.
Yeah, and I'll actually be sending a link to this recorded webinar when I send out the next invitation. If you notice the last invitation, if you got that, there was a link to last week's recorded webinar, and so you can just keep an eye out for that, and that's how I'll be doing it from now on. I used to send it just to the registered people, but I'm just going to send it to everyone. And that will be going out sometime on Monday afternoon. And if you haven't been receiving those emails anymore, you can sign up again on our website. Go to clip.com and then training and then webinars, and it is just right there.
And Cherish, this next this next Friday that you mentioned that I would be doing one, I don't think so. I think we're going to be changing that. It'll probably be more of a technical nature webinar.
Oh, okay. All right. Change
Okay.
your plan then.
Change of plan. Sorry about that, but yeah.
So we don't know yet.
I will actually be, for those of you who might be in the Denver, Colorado area, I will actually be a speaker at a family economics conference there on Friday. That'd be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you're interested in finding more about that, you can email Cherish, and she'll send you the link.
All right, great. And if Dave talks all the time about running your business and things along those lines, we have lots of webinars that go over that, and we're actually going to slow those down. So keep an eye out for the last couple that are coming, and then we will take a break from those for a while and just do CLIP2Go and do kind of less webinars as you're more busy in this summer season. But if you love hearing from Dave about how you run your business and things along those lines, kind of going beyond CLIP2Go and getting into profitability, general management, things like that, his book is a great resource. He just released that about a year ago, and here is the website for his book, thebeautifulbusiness.com, and you can find that on Amazon, and we'll send out a link to Amazon just now. It actually just went up right there. So you can look in your chat box and you can see a link straight to that book, so you can go ahead and get that online if you like. Thanks everyone for being with us today. Thanks for being our customers and letting us serve you. We love having that opportunity, and we don't take the responsibility lightly. I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the warmer weather, and I hope you're having a great start to 2014. And as always, your success is our business.